These rattles in my brain, yeah, I gotta get away. Always waiting for the phone, so I built my towers tall, wandering through these empty halls. Break the cycle now, walls are coming down. I gotta make it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look my fear right in the eye.
So, got a question the other day asking me what supplements I take and do I still take the same ones as last year. So I thought I'd answer that very quickly on here. So pretty much the same ones, same company, so by Symbiotica, and then this one is just from Amazon, which I use, which is Organic Trilogy. Big advocate of that, as well as these. So yeah, these are really good products. So I've got vitamin C, so I take 1,000 milligrams of that per day, just gives me more energy. Then we got the zinc, this is elderberry defense, zinc and copper. Then we have the omega, so this is omega-3s, stuff like that. So we've got DHA, EPA, etc. D3, K2 and Q10. Such a nice taste of these. And then we've got B12 as well. So all the kind of minerals and vitamins that I need. So this is what I use. If you do want to check out any of these products, you can, and you can get a discount as well if you use code Michael Bamba. I never recommend any products or services that I don't use myself. I'm a big advocate for, but these I definitely are, because I use them every single day. So if you want to check those out, feel free. If not, that's cool, but let's get on with the rest of the video. It's gonna be good to get into this. So I actually stumbled upon this question on TradingView by mistake, to be completely honest. I never really checked my messages, not out of, conscious thought. I just never really checked them. But I was messing about with a few different things, seen this question, and I'm like, gotta answer this one because it relates to not only my journey, but a lot of people watching right now. So Carmen writes, "Hi Michael, I would love to hear your what I would call on the brink of giving up moments, as I'm having one of those right now, juggling school, life, family, and trading as well hard. I was hoping if you had any words of advice." This person's only 14 years old, bit of perspective. So, a few different ways to answer this. Number one, I would come from an approach of understand how young you actually are. If you're 14 years old, number one, just appreciating how young you are. I think that's key. And number two, if you're trading and learning how to trade at 14, that is a big asset. If I just started trading at 14, by the time you're 20, 21 years old, you're going to be an absolute beast of a trader. If you just absolutely keep hammering the work, continue learning, surround yourself with the right people, and can constantly perform the right habits, mate, you are going to be some serious trader in the next 5-6 years, let's put it that way. So I would say just appreciate your age. Worst case scenario, even if you fail for the next 4, 5, 6 years, which unlikely you will, but let's just put that into perspective. If you fail by the time you're, 18, 19, 20 years old, you're sat on a ton of experience. Like you're sat on 4, 5, 6 years of experience by the time you're 18, 19, 20 years old. That is a big asset. Many people, a lot of people watching right now would do anything to get that time back, number one, in terms of life. And then number two, they would do anything to start trading at 14 years old. And it's likely, if you've just sent in this question, and if you are on the feeling of brink of giving up, it's likely you started at like 13 at least. So it's mad to put that in perspective, but just realize your age. When you're 14 years old, when you're a teenager, you do feel like the world's on your shoulders sometimes. It's just natural growing up, going through puberty, those kind of things, and just learning to become a man or a woman. It's as simple as that. So when I was 14, you feel like the world's on your shoulders. You feel like you have burdens and this and that to take responsibility for. And at the time, that feels like a lot. But in hindsight, it's nothing. So just realize that there's very few burdens on you at 14 years old. Think of it like this way. Think of it this. If you were 35, 30 years old and you have kids, you have family, you have a partner, you have responsibilities, debts to pay, bills to pay, all this kind of stuff, it's a lot different. You have to come from a different place, because to learn how to trade at that point, when you have things to, take responsibility for a lot more, like, supporting your family and friends, supporting these people, paying a mortgage, all these kind of different things, it will be a lot harder to learn at that age. So if someone has learned it, in their 30s or 40s, or have families and partners, respect, because it's a lot harder. So I think the most important thing here is just to realize that you're only 14 years old. You don't have burdens on you. You don't have too much responsibility. And, I do see it from your perspective in terms of, you're juggling school, life, family, friends, relationships, that kind of stuff. And then you try and do trading too. Seems like a lot of different things. So what I would personally say to you is just try and find some sort of balance. You don't have to be perfect. If you're only 14 years old, number one, the best advice I would give you is just enjoy life. Just enjoy life. You're only young once. But at the same time, if you can put, 1 hour, 2 hours per night in when you get home from school or college or whatever, then that's going to add up over time. You're 14. By the time you do that for 3-4 years, you're going to be a serious trader if you just keep at it. But the biggest thing I would say is don't get caught up in the social norm of what people think is a good career at school, and that can be a good way for a lot of people, but just don't get caught up in the limited mindset that school sometimes has to offer. That's one piece of advice I would give you. Now, one of the last things I'll say with this is go back to your why. Like, why did you start trading in the first place? But don't just stop there, go deeper. There's layers to this. It's like an onion. You peel back the layers and you go back to the core to figure out the main reason why you started. And then if the why is not strong enough, then you need to develop that further. So what do I mean by that? Well, being 14 years old, being young, your why could be something like, okay, well, I want to make some side income, or I want to make, trading a full-time income, or whatever it is. Now, that can be a good starting place. But if you're thinking about giving up, to be completely honest, is it enough to sustain you through those times? Well, put it this way, if I look back to my own journey and think back to those moments where I wanted to kind of give up, or I was feeling frustrated, or those hard times, those difficult moments within your journey, within your career, would a why like that sustain me? Probably not. I'm never a person to give up on things, and I have a strong work ethic, I have a strong persistence, but that why for me would not be strong enough. So just wanted to tell you how it is, tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. I think that's important for me to say. And you need to go back and figure out what your why is, develop that strong why, because until you have that, it's going to be super easy for you to give up, and that's not what you want longer term, because you're going to have spells, you're going to have ebbs and flows, you're going to have moments where you feel really high, not literally, but like you're going to have moments where you're on top of the moon and that euphoria feeling naturally with trading, and then you're going to have low moments where you feeling, not I would say depressed, but you have those low moments, and it's all about that polarity between the two. You need to balance it out. You need to figure out within those high moments how to bring yourself down to a balanced state, and the same within the low moments of thinking back to the highs, so that you can balance out and become more neutral based mindset. That's what I would say. But like for me, my why was always, okay, well, yes, I want to make a full-time income, I want to be a full-time trader, but it goes layers, there's levels to it. So okay, yeah, I want to make a full-time income from this. Yes, I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. But then it goes deeper. It's like, well, I want to help out my family. I want to pay for this. I want to help these. I want to impact people longer term down the line. So there's layers to that. So if one why fails, you've got the next one to kind of cover you. And it goes as deep as you make it. If you really make your why as deep as your core, so that it's in alignment with your purpose, then it's going to get you through. I'm not going to lie. If you've got a strong work ethic and you've got strong persistence, that stuff is going to get you through. The people that are starting to break through, that have been in the game 3, 4, 5 years now, when I look at the people that dropped off versus the people that are still going at it, the reason why the people breaking through right now, one of the biggest reasons is that why they could have given up so many times. I've got a few people in mind. They could have given up so many times, but what sustained them is that why, and why are they actually doing this in the first place? That is probably one of the biggest things, amongst a few other things, that I would say is got them through and is why they excel now. So something to think about. Is super important, and it's not something that everyone thinks about in enough detail. And I think once you actually go deeper within yourself and figure that out and do that self-work, that's going to sustain you for the long term. So hopefully that helps. Good question though, really, really good question. If you've got any more, send them down below, whoever it may be, and I'll get those answered in future videos.